Hi there, this is Tata, and welcome to the Justling Time Post Show. It is Monday, March 4th, and tonight I'll be reviewing Monday Night Raw. Alright, let's kick things off talking about this Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins promo that opened Monday Night Raw. So, on SmackDown, The Rock basically issued a challenge to Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins to face them pretty much in a tag match. So, tonight, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins made it known that they're going to go to SmackDown. Now, if you guys saw that 21-minute video that The Rock did on Friday, like, he talked about Cody Rhodes, he talked about Pharaoh, Cody Rhodes' dog, he talked about Seth freaking Rollins. And Cody Rhodes alludes to this during this promo. And he basically tells Rock to never talk about his dog ever again. He also mentions how, like, people don't want, how The Rock told him people don't want Cody versus Reigns, they want Rock versus Reigns. And then, the crowd starts chanting, "We want Cody." Well, that was what was going to happen. Cody Rhodes was originally supposed to face Roman Reigns. Then they did a 180, and it was going to be Rock versus Roman. But because the crowd, reacted so negatively to that, and they were starting to chant, "We want Cody," we are where we are now. And honestly, it's probably the best thing that's happened. The one thing I really dislike about this is that when Seth Rollins comes out, he calls The Rock Diarrhea Dwayne. Really? That's the best you can come up with? After The Rock pretty much went out there and not only buried you, but and your title? Really? That's the best you can come up with, Diarrhea Dwayne? I was not a huge fan of that. And so the whole point of this is that they're going to show up on SmackDown and they're going to confront The Rock and Roman Reigns, and they're going to give them an answer to their challenge, which I'm pretty sure, and even Cody Rhodes alludes to this, that the obvious answer, which we probably know it's going to be Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins versus The Rock and Roman Reigns on WrestleMania Night 1. This was an okay opening segment, but I feel like we got a lot of just talking here. We all knew this tag match was going to happen. They could have just cut this segment a little short and just said that they were going to go over to SmackDown. So we get Gunther versus Dominik Mysterio. And on commentary, they actually mentioned Sting's retirement. Pat McAfee mentioned Sting's match. If you guys know, yesterday and during AEW Revolution was Sting's final match. He officially retired, and so I'm really glad that WWE at least mentioned that, because it would be typical WWE for them to not mention anything. And I don't think anybody was expecting them to mention Sting. So good for them. I just say, Dominik held his own against Gunther here. Yeah, he got chopped and his shirt got ripped and got chopped even more. But he held his own. I think which shows a massive improvement over the last 4 years that Dominik has been wrestling. I mean, I really like when he did that sunset flip and then a 619 to Gunther. That was pretty impressive. But, Gunther just wanted to torture Dominik during this, because he could have, beat Dominik at any point. But he basically chose to win by submission after he put the Boston Crab to Dominik here. So, it was a pretty decent match. It wasn't bad. But there was no way that Dominik Mysterio was going to beat Gunther. So we get a Judgment Day. I know there's more segments in between, but I want to talk about this Judgment Day segment since it's relevant. WWE be like to AEW, we'll acknowledge Shane's retirement on TV, but we can't let you use any video footage for him for your tribute package. That's true. They had no WWE footage. So when Dominik is backstage and he's getting checked up on medical, like Andrade shows up and Dominik is telling Priest to keep his eye on Andrade. So I wonder what role Andrade will play, if any, with Judgment Day. Maybe Andrade becomes the reason or the factor that Dominik leaves at Judgment Day. Because, right now Andrade is face. We'll talk about his match when I get there. But, and Dominik is a heel. So, kind of an interesting dynamic there. We also get Nakamura talking to Adam Pearce. And basically, we're going to get an answer to the IC title later on in the night. And Pearce also has damage control while they're there. We have Shayna Baszler and Zoey Starks versus Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. Damage control was watching this match. I mean, they were blocking Pat McAfee's view. He even says so himself. My favorite spot during this match was a double Spanish fly that Katana Chance and Kayden Carter did to Zoey Stark. But of course, Zoey Stark and Shayna Baszler win this, and then Damage Control enter the ring. We find out that next week they're going to get a title shot, assuming Damage Control survives NXT Roadblock. Where the heck was Damian Priest? Seth was laid out, right? And he's supposed to be Senor Money in the Bank. I'll talk about that when we get there. We get Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax, which I'm not sure why. I don't need to see another gauntlet match. That's true. The whole point of this was to have Liv Morgan get involved, like Becky did last week to her match. And so basically, they're going to have a match next week. That should be interesting. But with Becky being Rhea's challenger, I don't think she's going to lose anytime soon. Becky and Nia was so boring. Really? You thought so? It was alright. I don't know why we had to see this match again, though. Alright. So we get another segment with Adam Pearce, and he's talking to Ricochet about the IC title. And Judgment Day approach Adam Pearce with JD asking for a match against Gunther. It's funny because during that backstage segment, Priest told JD to take care of it, and his face was just like, what? To take care of Gunther? So we basically find out that next week we're going to get a gauntlet match. It's going to be Ricochet, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, JD Madonna, Bronson Reed, and Chad Gable, with the winner facing Gunther at WrestleMania. I like gauntlet matches. I do, and I don't mind them. But with this type of situation, you had the opportunity to do a ladder match. I think it's been a long time since we had a ladder match for the IC title. It's going to come down to Sami and Gable. I think so too. I'll talk about it right now. You could have had a ladder match, and I would have much preferred a ladder match over a gauntlet match. Because think about it this way. Gunther in a ladder match protects him from having to get pinned, because he doesn't have to get pinned to lose the title, because you're not pinning him in a ladder match. You just have to grab the title. But if they want to end Gunther's undefeated streak, I guess the way you do it is a one-on-one match. To go back to what Michael says, I think it is going to come down to Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. Chad Gable, later on in the night, when Gunther's getting interviewed, and Gunther talks about how he gives Dominik credit because he talked a big game. Chad Gable interrupts, and he says that he's sick of Gunther's condescending smile. Because you have to remember, Gunther, not only did he beat Chad Gable, He beat Chad Gable and made Chad Gable's daughter cry. He humiliated Chad Gable in front of his family, and I'm really liking this whole feud between Chad Gable and Gunther. Like, out of all those guys, I think Chad Gable should be the one to dethrone Gunther. And Chad Gable is the only one who has a victory over Gunther. Sure, it was by countout, but it's a victory nevertheless. So I'm so glad they're finally going to revisit that. We get a Jey Uso Drew McIntyre video, which I thought was a pretty cool video. I like WWE's video packages. So that's the one thing that they do the best is their video packages. I mean, their camera angles and everything is improving. So that's a really good video package. We get Andrade versus Apollo Crews. This was Andrade's big return match. There was no way he was going to lose this match. And one of the interesting things is that Judgment Day is watching. They're watching this match. So again, as I mentioned earlier, what's going to happen here is Andrade going to be the reason Dominik turns face and possibly leaves Judgment Day. I forgot Apollo was still employed. Wasn't he on NXT like a year or two ago? Or is Andrade going to feud with Dominik? Because, Andrade has history with Rey Mysterio. He's got history with the LWO. But I guess they don't want to put Andrade with the LWO yet, especially because Charlotte's out with injury. So they're probably waiting for her to get back so that more like almost 2 years ago he was on NXT. So he's not on NXT anymore? Okay. So I'm intrigued by where this is going. We're going to have a feud Andrade versus Dominik Mysterio? What do you guys think of that potential feud? So Sami Zayn gets interviewed, and basically Ivar crashes his interview, and Sami Zayn challenges him to a match. I don't know what path Sami Zayn's road to WrestleMania would be, especially if he doesn't challenge. Dom will be Andrade's next opponent. I can see that. Especially if he's not going to face Gunther, what road does Sami Zayn take? I cannot see Sami Zayn being left off the card. Or maybe he might be. It seems like Kevin Owens is going to be left off this WrestleMania card. And it's so crazy because like he's alluded to before, a year ago, he had his Seth path to WrestleMania. He challenged, him and Kevin Owens challenged and won the tag titles in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1. I was there for that. And it's definitely a moment I'll never forget. So what is going to be Sami Zayn's path to WrestleMania, especially if he loses the gauntlet? I could definitely see, like I mentioned earlier, Sami Zayn and Chad Gable being the final two. I could definitely see Sami Zayn coming this close, just real close to beating Chad Gable, and he ultimately ends up losing. So we have to wait and see. I wouldn't mind it being a triple threat, Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins, or maybe even put Sami Zayn in the match with Gunther and Chad Gable. But then, let me see. I think Sami, Gable, Gunther, and Logan KO ordered for Mania. The problem with putting Sami in the match with Gunther is that Gunther could lose without having to get pinned. And if you're still going to protect Gunther and have him keep his undefeated streak, that's one way you do it. You throw Sami Zayn in that IC title match, make it a triple threat, and then Sami eats the pin. But honestly, if it's going to be a one-on-one with Gunther needs to get pinned to lose that title. And I think it'll be Chad Gable's big moment. So we get a backstage segment with a bunch of the women's tag teams, and Candice LeRae seems to have gotten a little snappy. Maxine and Ivy Niles interrupt, and Candice LeRae tells Maxine she doesn't need pity from someone who can't lace up her boots. I was like, dang, that's a little harsh, especially because there were people at a house show booing Maxine. I was like, dang, That was really cold-blooded. Alrighty. We get Judgment Day versus Imperium. This was actually a really good match. I enjoyed this match. The crowd was super behind Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Now, normally Judgment Day is getting booed, but they were getting cheered here. Hey, Joseph, welcome. So, are we about to see Judgment Day turn face? Or maybe Finn Balor and Damian Priest, like them as a unit, are we going to turn face? Maybe not, because Becky is the face going into her match against Rhea. It's a very interesting dynamic here. But damn, Leonardo. God damn, I was gonna call him Leonardo Vinci. Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser came real close to beating Judgment Day. I kind of thought that they were. I was like, they're gonna beat Judgment Day in a non-title match, but then probably lose to them in a title match. Oh, Leonardo Vinci came back. Oh my god. It's because you know what? I on my notes I just write Vinci. So like the first thing that comes to my head is Leonardo da Vinci, but it's Giovanni Vinci. Just popping in to say that I hope you're ready for NXT Roadblock tomorrow. I haven't even got into that yet, JJ. I hope you're ready. But this was a really, really great match. Judgment Day is victorious, and Gunther's probably not going to be happy that Kaiser and Vinci lost to Judgment Day here. He's probably not going to be happy at all. Then again, he's never really happy with Kaiser and Vinci. There's been like a couple of times where he has been, but majority of the time he's not. So we find out that the wise man, Paul Heyman, is the first inductee to the class of 2024. Much deserved for Paul Heyman. And in Philadelphia, nevertheless, the home of ECW, he so definitely deserves it. Now, I guess the question is, who's going to induct Paul Heyman? Maybe Tommy Dreamer? Even though Tommy Dreamer is with TNA, I could definitely see them loaning Tommy Dreamer to induct Paul Heyman. Much deserves for Heyman, and it was the right time to do it. Exactly the right time in Philadelphia, the home of East. I don't know what's going to happen at the 2300 Arena, but it would be really cool if they had SmackDown, the Hall of Fame in the 2300 Arena. That would just be the most fitting moment. Not only does Paul Heyman get inducted, but to get inducted in the 2300 Arena. Let me see. CM Punk, I'm thinking, oh, okay, yeah, CM Punk is a good choice, too. But we have to wait and see. So, Drew McIntyre gets interviewed backstage, and like this is like Drew doing his best, right? He basically doesn't care what Rollins does as long as he shows up to WrestleMania, and he wants an apology from Jey. So he, according to him, is a bigger man and apologizes to Jey because he's not going to win the match. A Dreamer will be there crying publicly. Oh my god, don't even get started with that. If you don't watch TNA wrestling, you don't get what he's talking about. And then like we get a quick little backstage segment with Rhea Ripley and Damage Control, and Rhea basically tells Io Sky to stay out of her territory, but Io Sky pretty much blows her off. I mean, I don't know if I would want to see Damage Control and Rhea Ripley face off, especially if it's not like a Becky Lynch situation where you have Rhea taking out Damage Control in a 1-2-3 situation like Becky Lynch did. But what would you guys think of maybe Damage Control and Rhea Ripley going facing each other, possibly? And it's funny though, because they also have history. Like there was Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky for that NXT Women's Championship a couple years ago. So then we get Sami Zayn versus Ivar, which was a decent match. Michael Cole was really happy on commentary because he got to wear Valhalla's antlers. Looked like a fool, but he was happy. Sami Zayn is victorious. It's not a surprise here, especially with momentum going to the gauntlet. But afterwards, Bronson Reed attacks him and hits him with the tsunami. So he's obviously sending his opponents a message. Jey Uso cuts a very quick promo, basically saying that all he's done is hear McIntyre crying and complain. That is true. All McIntyre has been doing has been crying and complaining. And he says that he's sorry for what he's going to do to Drew and Jay don't play. I like that. I think what Michael's cool assumption with those I don't know what his assumption with those antlers were. So backstage, the Regeneration X is playing like video games, and Miz suggests that they take the tag titles from Judgment Day. So there you have it. That's probably going to be the WrestleMania match. Judgment Day versus the Awesome Truth for those tag titles. And I'm hoping Awesome Truth is victorious. And I'm going to pray to the wrestling gods, Moose and JBL, that they finally split up the tag titles, because that's what is needed. No, I'm not much of a gamer, and I don't even have a system. So our main event ends up being Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. And just like last time, because it's not the first time they face off, Drew McIntyre is victorious. Because first, Solo Sikoa comes out and causes a distraction. Cody Rhodes comes out, takes out Solo Sikoa. Then Jimmy also causes a distraction. And this allows Drew McIntyre to hit the Claymore to Jay. And Jimmy grabs a chair. And the funny thing is, like, as Rollins comes out, he runs past Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre's face as he does that is like, what the fuck? And he saves Jay from Jimmy. And I swear, if Seth Rollins hadn't came out, it would have been the same as last time. Jimmy comes out, caused Jay the match, and here we are, back again. No, so, and then, like, Drew McIntyre claimed more Seth Rollins here. So, like I mentioned, maybe a styles adventure styles for Cody's match. 2K20 is going to be awesome just because the Great Muta's in the game as DLC. Seth Rollins looking like Powerline from Goofy Powerline. It's been a long time since I've seen that Goofy movie, so I gotta rewatch it because I don't remember who Powerline is. So, like I said, so it'll be Rollins. It's probably going to be Rollins, maybe Sami Zayn, Jey Uso. I feel like everybody that got screwed by the bloodline would probably be in Cody's match, which is why I feel like Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins are going to lose a tag match. It's going to be tribal rules match. And Raw goes off the air with, after Drew McIntyre and Morris Rollins. Seth looked like a highlighter. He did. So, overall, tonight's Raw was not that good. Like, I don't know. I feel like there were the dancer Max Goofy dressed up as. Oh. I mean, Raw was okay, but it wasn't too. It was okay. I'd give it on a scale from a 1 to a Sean Spears perfect 10. I'd give it a 6. It wasn't too bad, but it wasn't great. 2 out of what a 3-hour yawn fest of a show. This just gave me it's called The Rock. That's funny. If I'm Drew, why do I care about Seth just doing it with the blind? Oh, if I'm Drew, why do I care about what Seth is doing with the bloodline? I apologize for the car horn. It's outside. Exactly. And like I mentioned earlier, like Seth Rollins was laid out. Where the hell was Damian Priest? Like he could have ran out there, cashed in, and became champion. But then again, with Drew McIntyre being out there, he probably would have stopped him. Even the car horn. Hate it, Rob. Probably. Alrighty then. So, with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. It means the world to me that I'm finally at 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I could not, from the bottom of my heart, I could not have gotten to 1,000 subscribers without you guys. I'm annoyed at how they mistreated Money in the Bank. Me too, honestly. He's got what, until July? Until July. That's when Money in the Bank is to cash in. So we'll see what happens with that. And I'm a woman of my word. So that means that anywho, SmackDown is a show to watch. It's about to go down. Unfortunately, I will not be watching SmackDown because this Friday it is TNA Sacrifice. So I will be watching Sacrifice instead of SmackDown. I'm going to have to DVR SmackDown. And I am a woman of my word, and I said that if I got to 1,000 subscribers going forward, I will review the NXT PLEs and what are they called? The live specials. And because of that, TNA Sacrifice, that's right. I cannot believe you forgot about Sacrifice IO. So I will see you guys tomorrow after NXT Roadblock. The West Coast version, though, not East Coast, West Coast. So bye.